love them all. And we're going to hand it over to Nick now. He's going to tell you a little bit more.
You hanging out? Okay. So he's super cute, right? You don't know what's going on the inside of him. Kind of like those really good-hearted people that are just like super ugly, just kind of in reverse. So I don't have all jokes here, but I did want to say that we have plans to use the money raised from this, and insurance doesn't cover all of lung transplants. And so we just had a friend out in North Carolina that had to get a new set of lungs, and they were raising money to pay for rent because you have to live near the hospital where you're getting the new lungs. So,
and afterwards 3 months.
And afterwards for 3 months. So after I buy a new Trans Am, the rest of the money is going towards that. So it's an honor to be here today to share with you the impact Brandon Beal and his family had on my life. And to celebrate the rich legacy of a kind, strong man who has inspired thousands and is continuing to shape the hearts of many more. My young family greatly reflects the Beals. My beautiful wife, Katie, and I have a son. They're just a couple years apart, just like Brandon and Allie. Silas is 6, and Josie's back there, she's 3. And he happened to be a big fan of Brandon. Brandon had a cool green Jeep and a wild pack of girls that he would bring to all the birthday parties. And we intimately know the name of every drug that Brandon was on, because like him, Silas has cystic fibrosis. And Brandon loved my son deeply. Seeing somewhat of a reflection of himself in Silas's deep blue eyes, that he knew those eyes would someday see the same battles as him. So what is cystic fibrosis? We didn't know either. So just pulling this from the CF Foundation, this is a life-threatening, currently incurable genetic disease, primarily affects the lungs and digestive system. These people look and act no different than those without the disease. An estimated 30,000 children in the United States have CF, and 1 in 30 people, that's 10 million Americans, are carriers of the CF gene. So surprise, surprise, some of you are probably carriers and don't even know it. That was my case. The life expectancy for a child born with CF today is in the early 40s. But that definition, it lacks so much, because we have a human element. We have Silas, and we have Brandon, and we have the families that go behind this. For me, cystic fibrosis is having a son, a new life and a gift from God, and learning what the purpose of a sweat test is. It's taking a lot of those blessings and excitement of having a child and trading them for terror and worry. I'm reminded every single night, every time I kiss his skin, that there's a chance my greatest fear of outliving my son could someday be realized. Cystic fibrosis is finally watching your son get sick and not able to get rid of that pesky cough that's been around for several months. Any CF parent can tell you the sound of your child's cough sends chills down your spine. And we can hear, anybody in here cough tonight, we heard you, trust me. We can hear you sneeze from 30 miles away.
I can hear Silas right now.
Yeah, he's clearing his throat. We're extremely careful about scanning every person we spend time with, because we so desperately want to keep him safe. He gets sick really easily. He's already been admitted twice to Riley for 2 weeks each time. Once September 2015 and again October 2016 at 3 and 4 years old. Already fighting battles not meant for kids his age. Cystic fibrosis is finding out we were expecting a second child. And yes, we were excited, but also scared, knowing there's a 1 in 4 chance that she would have it too. There was no sleep for this dad for those 9 months. And finally, 22 heart-wrenching days after her birth, we welcomed our daughter, Josie, and she was totally healthy, and she's 3 now. Many of you may not know, but people with CF have extremely salty tasting skin. Do not lick my son. Because a common side effect of licking him is getting punched in your face. So while we were waiting for Josie's CF test results to come back, which did show that she was healthy, we were licking her skin, tasting. Don't give her a bath yet. We want to make sure that we can, really check out to see if there's salt. Cystic fibrosis is a life of time-consuming treatments, hours on the phone with pharmacies and insurance customer service reps. God forgive me for the way I treated that last one. And family trips to the clinics. Silas takes 12 different medicines, not even including supplements. He ingests 750 of one of those pills every month and performs over 30 hours of breathing treatments every month. And those numbers are when he's totally healthy. So if he's got a cough or if he's got a sore throat, we up it big time. Many times if someone with cystic fibrosis can't come out to play with his friends, it's not because he's sick. It's because those treatments take up so much time that their schedules don't allow for it. So every day, I'm in the worship band at our church. We're there at 8:30 in the morning. You better believe we get up early and we're doing his treatments. We make sure he gets breakfast. Then we're off. And when we leave here tonight, it's an hour past bedtime, where you better believe we're going to be doing a breathing treatment because we're doing what we need to do. There's a martial art I learned about whenever I was a kid. My dad used to be a Taekwondo instructor, and he had these books of fighting styles lying around everywhere. And I was interested in something called Aikido. Aikido was especially interesting to me. Unlike other styles, which relied on punches and kicks and throws meant to break bones, Aikido techniques include movements that redirect the opponent's attack momentum. A small fighter like me could wait for his opponent to pull all of his weight in a single punch, step aside to avoid it, and then use momentum to trip him up and throw him. It requires little effort and little strength to pull off. In our lives, in this world, we are constantly under attack. There is a real enemy of everything good who sets out to cause ruin in our families, to instill fear in our souls, and to ultimately fill us with hopelessness and spiritual death. And he hits hard with every ounce of his terrible strength. But we have a kind, loving, and unequivocally powerful God that protects us. And like an Aikido master, takes all that evil momentum, all that energy meant to destroy us, and he uses it for his glory. Genesis 50:20 states, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as it is today." So, as hard as this life can be, there is a whole other side of this disease that I can never have imagined after hearing about Silas's diagnosis. We see so much good in this world, and some of you don't see it. But we're constantly showered with this goodness. Cystic fibrosis is grandpas, grandmas, aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends traveling 4 hours just to put a smile on his face in Riley. Each time he was admitted, he had visits, gifts, cards, and prayers pour over our family from day one. Cystic fibrosis is a family from Oakland City, the Watsons, who provide 100% paid scholarship for kinder music, an early childhood program that is one of the most widely recognized music and movement programs for young children. When he was admitted to Riley, he was so disappointed he would have to miss those classes. His teachers, Julie and Jeremy, videotaped every class and sent them to us in the hospital. They all talked to my son like he was there with them. These little 3-year-olds cheering him on to get better. Cystic fibrosis is the McKee family. Man, we have felt like rock stars. So much of this we could have never seen coming. Derek, Jessica, Abby, and Leah, and everybody here that's helping. Just so he could once again be made like he's special. Cystic Fibrosis is the Beal family. Margie, Larry, Allie, Olivia, and Brandon. Margie, Brandon's mother, she did not stop trying to contact us after hearing about Silas after he was born. I remember ladies at the library asking me if I knew you. No, I don't know her. Why would I know her? After numerous attempts, we finally opened our hearts and minds to her, and she entrusted us with a guide to life which we carry in our hearts. Proverbs 17:22 has become a life verse for us. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Life is going to be full of obstacles, and our son will most certainly face more adversity than the average child. But it's our honor as his parents to show him that the world is a beautiful place and to always remain positive, focusing on the goodness of God's blessing in each situation and in each person we meet. This is the most effective medicine. And today I look at Brandon's family. I see no hope lost. So many families lose a child in a war and they turn off the news altogether, hoping to drown away any reminder of pain. But this family knows that there's still a battle raging on, and there are still soldiers out there fighting for their lives. Others families out there praying for victory. Thank you for not turning your backs on us. We love you. Cystic fibrosis is a lot of scary things, but a truly beautiful perspective on life, man, that does not come without a price. This disease has forced us to face the fact that our days are numbered. In turn, we have learned to not sweat the small things. We will never complain about growing another year older. It's intolerable to hear others speak this way. Every day is a gift. Remember that when you turn 30 and you're freaking out. Quality of life is not measured by length. How we live our life means more than the sum of those days. When I had my son, I did not believe in God. At that time, I worked a stressful job. My mom was dying of cancer, and I was battling other personal issues. The anxiety and fear added to my life by having a child with an incurable disease sent me over the edge. But it's true. God uses people. He uses you, and He uses you. He uses all of us. He uses us to complete His perfect plan. Through His love shining through so many people in my path, I could no longer ignore the real presence God had in my life. And I began a very deep relationship with Christ that carries me through each day. And Silas, in just a couple months, he memorized 26 Bible verses. And that's awesome, man. Among every painful detail of this disease, through all the struggles, we live with peace in our heart. And I cannot express how much hope I have for my son's future. Life is a limited edition opportunity of adventure, breathtaking scenery, and an overabundance of God's love. So love passionately. Forgive others. Turn off the news and focus on your family. Take chances. No matter how long you live, I guarantee it will go by in the blink of an eye. So why not make the most of it? I sincerely thank each one of you for being here tonight, for supporting the first Smokin and Jokin Festival. And so how cool is it that for CF it has the word smoking in it, right? The other day the McKees posted a Charlie Chaplin quote. Every day without laughter is a day wasted. And tonight we make the most of today. We step out of fear. We cast our anxieties of tomorrow onto God. And we have some fun. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.